Jerry Jones just got handed a second chance at the one player who could turn this entire defense around, and most of Cowboys Nation has no idea it's happening right now. The Baltimore deal collapsed, the asking price just dropped, and Dallas is sitting on the exact draft capital to make it happen without destroying the future. Before we dive into why this changes everything, do me a favor and smash that subscribe button right now, because I'm bringing you Cowboys breaking news the moment it drops. And we're building something special here, with real fans who bleed blue and silver. Let's get into what just shifted in Dallas, and why the next 2 weeks might determine whether this team is actually serious about winning a championship, or just talking about it again. Let me start with the running back situation because there's a veteran sitting on the couch right now who just became the most obvious fix Dallas has ignored all offseason, and one injury turns this entire problem into a full-blown crisis. Javonte Williams just got paid. He earned that contract after grinding out over 1,200 yards and double-digit touchdowns last season, and nobody is questioning his role as the lead back. But here's what nobody is talking about. The guys behind him on the depth chart wouldn't survive 2 weeks if Williams goes down. You've got a rookie who barely touched the ball and showed attitude issues that almost got him buried before he cleaned it up at minicamp. You've got a 7th rounder who dealt with a bum shoulder all last year and has 0 NFL reps that matter. You've got a guy who's been hanging around this roster for half a decade as an emergency body and nothing more. That is not a plan, that is a prayer, and prayers don't win you games in December when your franchise back pulls a hamstring in the second quarter. Now here's where it gets interesting because Austin Ekeler checks every single box Brian Schottenheimer is looking for in a complementary piece, and the price tag is probably lower than what Dallas is paying for special teams depth right now. Ekeler tore his Achilles last season with Washington, limited him to 2 games, and that's exactly why he's still available in June. He's 31 years old, he's fully recovered, and he's made it clear to anyone who's asked that he's not chasing a starting job anymore. He wants to be part of a rotation, he wants to contribute, and he wants to play meaningful football. Go back and look at what he did when he was healthy because the numbers tell you everything you need to know. He's never rushed for 1,000 yards in a single season, but he's topped 1,500 yards from scrimmage 3 separate times because of how dangerous he is catching the ball out of the backfield. And here's the stat that should make every Cowboys fan sit up. He led the entire NFL in total touchdowns twice, 20 scores in 2021 and 18 in 2022. That is not a guy filling a roster spot. That is a game changer who knows how to find the end zone when the offense needs it most. Schottenheimer wants a thunder and lightning approach, Williams as the hammer and a pass-catching change of pace, who can move the chains on 3rd down and contribute on special teams. Ekeler has done that exact role his entire career. The fit is perfect, the cost is minimal, and the depth chart problem disappears overnight. This is the move Dallas should have already made. And while we're talking about smart roster building, let's jump to the 2027 draft because one projection just linked the Cowboys to an Alabama cornerback who made the 2 biggest plays of last season, and this is exactly the type of prospect that should keep Jerry Jones up at night after he spent nearly $200 million on corners who couldn't stay healthy or stay on the field. Let me give you the context first, because it matters. Dallas has handed out 2 massive extensions to cornerbacks in the last 5 years. One got almost $100 million, and the other got $90 million, and both deals turned into absolute disasters. The first guy never played at an elite level again after signing, missed 31 games over his final 3 seasons, and got cut last year. The second guy just got named the most overpaid player in the NFL by Bleacher Report, after one decent season earned him $90 million, and he's been hurt or getting torched ever since. That is a combined $187 million spent on a position that has done nothing but bleed this franchise dry. So when Pro Football Network mocked Kool-Aid McKinstry to Dallas at pick 27 in next year's draft, it wasn't just about adding talent. It was about finally solving a problem the right way, instead of throwing money at it and hoping it works. McKinstry isn't some system corner who put up numbers against bad competition. This kid made plays when the lights were brightest and the stakes were highest. As a freshman at Alabama, he picked off 3 passes, including a game-sealing interception that upset Georgia. As a sophomore, he took 2 picks back to the house. One was a 99-yard return right before halftime against Tennessee, and the other was a pick 6 in a college football playoff comeback win over Oklahoma. Those aren't garbage time stats. Those are championship moments. And the scouting report says he's got the speed and instincts to be a Pro Bowler with the right coaching staff around him. The comparison floating around is Caleb Downs, a guy who showed up day 1 and played like a veteran. McKinstry has that same plug-and-play feel at corner. And the crazy part is Dallas has tried to buy this position twice and failed both times because they overpaid for injury-prone talent that couldn't deliver. Maybe the answer was always sitting in the draft. Maybe the solution is a kid from Alabama who knows how to take the ball away when the game is on the line. If McKinstry is sitting there at 27 next year and Dallas passes on him for another project, Cowboys Nation is going to lose their minds. This is the type of pick that changes the entire trajectory of a secondary. Now let's get to the big one because Maxx Crosby is available again, and Dallas just got named the top landing spot after the Ravens trade fell apart over a failed physical. And here's what nobody is telling you. This might be the last real chance Jerry Jones has to add a game-wrecking pass rusher without mortgaging the entire future. Let me lay out why this matters so much right now. The Cowboys finished 30th in total defense last season. They brought in Rashaad Gary through a trade. They drafted an edge rusher in the first round, and they've got guys coming back from injuries, but nobody on this coaching staff is pretending that group is dominant. Christian Parker himself called the approach by committee, which is coach speak, for we're hoping the sum of the parts is better than what we've got individually. Crosby changes that equation entirely. He's 28 years old. He's locked into a 3-year extension worth over $100 million that he signed before last season. And when he's healthy, he's one of the most disruptive edge players in football. Dallas already tried to get him earlier this offseason, but the price was too high. The difference now is Baltimore walked away because of a medical red flag, and that changes everything about this negotiation. Here's the medical reality because you can't ignore it. Crosby had meniscus surgery at the end of last season, and those procedures take 3 to 4 months to heal. The Ravens brought him in for a physical, and whatever they saw made them uncomfortable enough to kill the deal. Any team that steps up now has to be fully confident that knee is good to go before they ship out draft picks and take on that contract. But here's why Dallas makes so much sense for this move. The Cowboys have a spare first-round pick in 2027 from the Packers trade, and one report suggested a package built around that pick, plus a third-rounder, and maybe a player like Dorrance Armstrong could get it done. That structure keeps the 2028 first-round pick in Dallas, which was the part of Baltimore's original offer that would have gutted the future. The question is whether Jerry Jones is willing to roll the dice on a player coming off knee surgery. And here's my take. If the medical checks out clean, you make this deal 10 times out of 10. Imagine a front line with Quentin Williams anchoring the interior, Rashaad Gary coming off one edge, your first-round rookie developing on the other side, and Maxx Crosby wreaking havoc in the backfield. That is not just an upgrade, that is a pass rush that can go toe-to-toe with Philadelphia, San Francisco, and anyone else standing in the way of a Super Bowl run. The window with Dak Prescott is open right now. It's not open forever. And if Dallas lets this opportunity slip because they got scared of a medical report that turned out fine, we're going to be talking about this missed chance for the next 5 years. This is the type of move that separates franchises who talk about competing from franchises who actually do something about it. And before we wrap, let me hit you with the under-the-radar story that might end up being the most important development of the entire offseason, because a second-year linebacker is quietly taking first-team reps in minicamp, and he could be the guy calling the defense on opening night against the Giants while everyone is focused on big names and trade rumors. Shamar James was a 5th-round pick last year out of Florida. He wasn't supposed to see the field much as a rookie, But injuries forced him into action, and by the end of the season, he led the entire team in tackles with 91. Now his overall grade from Pro Football Focus was brutal, ranked near the bottom of the league, but here's the context that matters. He was 20 years old, he was thrown into a starting role he wasn't ready for, and he still earned his reps by showing the coaching staff something they liked. The plan coming into this offseason was that the linebacker rotation would be built around the guys Dallas traded for and the veteran presence already on the roster. But here's the problem with that plan. Both of those guys are weak side linebackers by nature, smaller and faster, built to chase plays sideline to sideline. Neither one is a natural fit at Mike linebacker, which is the most critical spot in Christian Parker's defense because that's the player wearing the green dot, making the calls, and setting the entire unit before every snap. Dallas missed out on a couple of big-name linebackers in free agency, and that left a real void at that spot. And that void is exactly where James has stepped in. He's only 21 years old now. He's got more experience playing inside linebacker than anyone else in that room, and he's been getting first-team reps with the new defensive coordinator watching every move. Parker has made it clear that nobody is getting handed a starting job because of draft status or contract size. This is a true competition, and that's a direct signal that James has a legitimate shot. While everyone is obsessing over whether Dallas will land Maxx Crosby or which cornerback they'll draft in 2027, a fifth-round pick from Florida might already be the most important defender on this roster that nobody outside the building is paying attention to. Training camp is going to tell us everything we need to know, but if James walks out of camp as the starting Mike linebacker, that's not just a depth move, that's a foundational piece of this defense for the next 5 years. Keep his name close because this story is about to get loud. So here's where we're at, Cowboys Nation. Jerry Jones has a legitimate shot at a game-changing pass rusher who just became available again after Baltimore backed out. The running back depth chart has a glaring hole, and a 2-time touchdown leader is sitting by the phone waiting for someone to call. The cornerback position that has drained this franchise of nearly $200 million might finally get fixed the right way through the draft next year. And a fifth-round linebacker that almost nobody is talking about could be the guy running this entire defense when the season kicks off in prime time. Those are 4 completely different storylines all happening at the same time, and they're all pointing to the same conclusion. This roster is still very much under construction, and the moves Dallas makes between now and training camp are going to decide whether 2026 is the year this team finally breaks through, or just another season of what could have been. The talent is here, the coaching staff has a vision, and the championship window is wide open. Now it comes down to whether Jerry Jones is willing to be aggressive enough to take full advantage of it. Before you go, make sure you're subscribed because we're covering every move, every rumor, and every development as it happens, and drop your take in the comments right now. Would you trade for Maxx Crosby if the medical clears? Are you all in on Ekeler fixing the backfield? Let me know what you think because this is our team and we're building this together. Let's go get it, Cowboys Nation.